There are lives that changes loudly, and there are lives that changed quietly. No headline, no warnings, no sudden events. Just slow shifts in thinking. Pressure building silently and decision forming long after actions even appears. This is the beginning of Amina al-Mufti's story. And like many stories that became unforgettable, it didn't begin with chaos. She come from respected background, one that gives her access to education most women in her era could only dream of. Europe became part of her story early. Vienna, a city of intelligence, culture, and discipline, is whether her life began to take shape in different direction. She was not loud and she was not rebellious. She was observant, the kind of person who listened more than to speak, the kind of person who knows everything but reveals nothing. In an environment like that, peoples either blend in or slowly separate from everyone else. Amina did something dangerous. She was adapted. An adaptation is where identity begins blur. Because when you can become anything people expect you to be, you also begin to forget what you were before. At the time, one could call her dangerous. No one called her importance. She was simply a young woman building a future in a world that felt open and full of possibilities. Every story has a turning point. For Amina, that turning point does not come from politics. It was from connection. She entered a relationship that would later turn her name to completely different world. A world of military intelligence, conflicts, and secrecy. She married an Israel Air Force pilot while living abroad. At first glance, it looks like personal decision, a private life. But stories like hers, nothing stays private for long. Life in that was not simple. It was shaped by tension, identity, and the invisible weight of geopolitics. And then come loss. Her husband later died in military-related incident. Something shifted not visibly, not immediately, but internally. But grievance does not always break peoples. Sometimes it redirects them. It creates space for influence, for persuasion. For new path does not exist before. It's in moments like this individuals become vulnerable to force larger than themselves. And in intelligence history, vulnerability is not weakness, it's opportunity. What happened next exists in fragments of intelligence accounts and historical reports. Some says she was approached, some says she was recruited, some says she was volunteered. All versions agreed on one thing. Amina al-Mufti enters the world of intelligence, specifically mossad operations. Trainings is not what peoples imagine. It is not dramatically, it's controlled. She was reportedly trained for operations that requires patience and social engineering. In intelligence, information is more powerful than force. Amina's path led her closer to one most sensitive region in modern history, Lebanon, a place already overlapping intelligence networks. Here, according to multiple accounts, she operated under cover identities, one of them reportedly humanitarian or medical work, a role that gives her something far more valuable than authority. It gives her trust. In an environment like refugees camp and political instability zones, trust is everything. Peoples do not question doctors. Peoples do not suspect volunteers. Peoples do not assume danger from those appears helping. And that is what makes such a position powerful in intelligence operations. Others sees compassion while intelligence agencies sees an access. Access to conversations, names, network, and secrets that were never meant to leave the room. And slowly, quietly, Amina al-Mufti's name began to appear in the shadow of intelligence history, not as a public figure, but as a question, a file that different sides interpret differently. And this is the end of part of the story, Amina al-Mufti. Please subscribe and like. Thank you.